For a very long time, Pokken Tournament caught my gaze as a potential fighting game with many unique personalities that don't reside in other games of its genre. I sat back on the decision to buy the original Pokken Tournament on the Wii U due to how the pricing of the Wii U was at the time of Pokken Tournament's release. But now that the game has been ported to the Nintendo Switch and given the deluxe treatment with the addition of new mechanics and characters, I was really tempted to buy the game. The only thing that held me back was the $60 price tag that seemed to never change no matter how long the game was out. Thankfully, a massive 30% sale has been applied to the game since July 29th, all the way to August 11th, with a free Nintendo Online trial that is available for all online members until August 8th. This really gave me a big incentive to try out the full experience and see if the game could grasp my attention and hopefully my wallet as well. When I think of a fighting game, I ask myself, is it worth the money to buy and support this game? And with Pokken Tournament being sold originally as a $60 title, I was a bit on edge by that price tag. When I think of a fighting game, I think of a game that allows competitive players to find new ways to grow in that game on an hourly or even daily basis. Not only that, but I look to see if the fighting game in question allows for newer players to pick up, learn, and grow right from the bottom of the scene at their own pace with the tools necessary. With this in mind, I was worried for a very long time as I booted up the game, because from an outside perspective looking in, I never really viewed Pokken Tournament as the type of game that could apply the love fighting game mechanics from other games and put them into a format that even an inexperienced player could understand. I knew that this was something that Pokken Tournament had to offer if it wanted to catch my gaze as a competitive fighting game consumer, and thankfully I can confidently say that there was enough to satisfy my needs. Upon booting up Pokken Tournament, I was instantly greeted with my guide Nia, a fine instructor that set me up with the basic tools necessary to understand the basic fundamentals of the game and essentially gave me the knife to carve out my own fighting playstyle. For a Pokemon fighting game, the tutorials involved were a bit long to me, but were packed to the brim with vital points of information that gets to the core of what a fresh, competitive player needs to learn about with fighting games in general. I think one of the best things about this tutorial is Nia's explanation of the attack triangle. Pokken Tournament's special triangle that provides a basic bread and butter of what builds any fighting game foundation. In this game, there are three major forms of interactions: basic attacks, parries, and shields. This attack triangle gave me a fast and strong explanation of how I can change the gameplay and how I as the player can completely turn the tides of any match just by remembering this basic form of information. By teaching me about how basic attacks beat grabs, grabs beat parried attacks, and how shields beat basic attacks, the game instantly gave me a goal of not only learning the basic mechanic, but mastering this mechanic and applying it to every single battle, which is the most important thing when it comes to building a competitive mindset, especially to newer players. Pokken Tournament offered me several ways to practice my techniques with all variants of Pokemon that have different fighting styles, combos, and inputs. And with the additions of free training, action dojo, and combo dojo training modes, that provided me with all the crucial and sharp detailed examples of how I should go about learning these characters, but also gave me some room on my own to build my own unique fighting styles as well. Now that I've gone over the most important part about the game, I've got to discuss how the game plays in both an online and software standpoint, because it's hard to play a game competitively if it feels slow and broken. But to my surprise, Pokken Tournament has held up very well in the looks and feels department, and has really provided me with a smooth and comforting experience. The graphics of the game are very sharp. I definitely understand what was happening on the screen when explosive or fast moves occurred on the battlefield. The controls respond very well with the game itself, and the online connection, which I believe was peer-to-peer based, has been a fluent and smooth experience for me as well, which is honestly a big surprise to me due to how most competitive fighting games play when it comes to running on Nintendo's services. Each character's models looks as polished as they can be, with each animation representing the character's designs and looks flawlessly, taking many moves that are enjoyed from previous Pokemon titles and putting them in a fluent motion that can be identified and understood. Each Pokemon plays differently and is individually geared to different play styles of many different players. I personally chose Lucario as my main Pokemon because I enjoy having a playstyle that has a good close combat playing field, but also gives me the opportunity to be very defensive or offensive with projectiles if I play the situation carefully. Having many characters with the abilities to cater towards specific players really gives off a good vibe about this game and gives me the incentive as a player to want to try out many different variants of not only field Pokemon but support Pokemon as well. From each Pokemon that I've played so far, a lot of them feel balanced with noticeable weak points for each player to discover. Some characters are made to beat other characters in certain matchups, but the game's mechanic and systems give those with noticeable disadvantages a chance to win if they try hard enough. I think one of the biggest gameplay elements that I've enjoyed so far is called phase shifting, which shows off two different ways of fighting in this game. Field phase is a form of free roam fighting, where you have complete control of your Pokemon's movements and acts as a good starting point that decides who is worthy of the dual phase advantage. I like to think of field phase as a shining example from the games like Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm, so if you've played those games before, I'm certain you'll adapt to the field phase easily. The second phase is called dual phase, which acts like a restrictive fighting style compared to the field phase. This phase takes on more of a traditional style of fighting games and really decides what player will hold the advantage against the other. In short, I was really satisfied with the diverse amount of characters, maps, and graphical effects that the game had to offer, alongside the amazing soundtracks that pulled me in and got me hyped as I played through the many amazing battles. For every competitive game, there needs to be a good rank mode, and I think that Pokken Tournament has a solid rank mode as well. The game has an active system that punishes players that disconnect multiple times, highlighting them if they've been known for being a constant leaver, which really helps set a healthy and positive environment for this game. The rank mode has a varying amount of levels that are needed to make a massive amount of competitive progress. You start off at the rank tier D and move all the way up to A as the final ranking in the game. Each rank has a different set of divisions, and for instance, since I'm new, I'm currently in D5, but if I keep grinding, I can get all the way to D1 and promote myself into C5. This is a very common thing seen in many fighting games, so I'm glad that the developers decided to keep this normal aspect in the game and promote this kind of competitive play. Worth noting though, when you're about to rank up from D1 to a rank like C5, you have to win 2 of 3 promotion games to make it up to this rank. This will be a good method of detecting a player's true value in the competitive scene as well. As we approach the end of this video, I'd like to discuss a few things that I specifically enjoyed when I was playing this game. There are a lot of small detailed things that I feel need more time in the limelight because it all shows how much the developers care about this game and all the efforts that were put into this game, no matter how big or small, to make everyone's experience a good one. Customization in a fighting game is one thing that I think every game needs, and Pokken Tournament does that very well. You have the ability to unlock new clothing styles and accessories from battling or even using the money that you've gained in-game to unlock and create many variants of colors and combos for your character's avatar. Not to mention that your avatar's skin tone, eyes, and hairstyles are completely customizable. The game gives you a little bit of variety in the beginning, but also gives you a greater amount of options by the time you fought around 20 to 30 good matches. And for the final honorable mention, I'd like to briefly talk about skill points. Skill points are points that you earn from leveling up your Pokemon. You gain 1 point after each level up, and you can push these points into increasing one of many stats available to your Pokemon. You can increase your Pokemon's defense so that they can take more hits, or allocate those points into an attack stat to increase the amount of damage that your Pokemon can deal out. There are several more skill point stats that you can allocate points into, but I chose to use attack and defense as a simple explanation for this video. I just really enjoyed the idea of being able to truly build my character stats the way I want to build them. And even when I feel like changing up these stats, I can always go back and allocate these points into other status bars as well, in as little as a minute. Pokken Tournament is a very fun fighting game that not only invites new players, but challenges veteran players of other fighting games to master the new diverse fighting styles within this game. I found myself training endlessly in the training rooms provided to me in the game and taking a large crack at the competitive side of the game as soon as I picked up the controller and started playing. This really shows me that the game is worth my money, and I've already determined that this game will 100% end up in my catalog by the end of this trial period. I highly recommend purchasing this game if you're a fan of the Pokemon series, and if you're looking for a game that's replayable with a big competitive experience. I hope you guys and gals enjoyed my competitive perspective on Pokken Tournament and choose to purchase this well-crafted but very innovative fighting game. Thank you guys and gals for watching this video. If you like this video and you want to see more, make sure to hit that like and that subscribe button and let me know what you guys and gals think about Pokken Tournament down below. Without further ado, peace out.